if you account 10, 15, maybe 20% for kind of miscellaneous or overages, that gives you some room because the bank's going to lend on that amount that you gave them. So they'll usually give you, 80 to 85% of that.
Yeah.
And then with the turnaround of putting it on long-term principal and interest, P&I payments after the construction's done, and you usually get some time to get tenants in there first.
Welcome to Highballers, where we hold nothing back, talking all things real estate and real estate investing.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Highballers. I'm Matt Merrill with 2M Investments.
I'm Josh Harmon Sr. With Harmon Real Estate Company. I forgot my company's name.
Well, we got to focus on a lot of things right now, and Josh wanted to avoid it, but I do want to kind of start it with the current topic right now on everything, the coronavirus and what it's doing to the economy and workers and businesses and individuals all around. Because we sit here and talked last week about it is having a big effect on the economy, but I also thought we would have a quicker bounce back. It wouldn't really hit us as hard as it did. And about 2 days later, it has really taken its toll on this community and even local in the smaller areas, which I didn't think it would affect as much. And so it's changing every day. And I know it's becoming kind of a worn out topic, but it's everything that's going on right now. Yeah. I mean, my TV in my office has been on Fox Business 24/7 for the last week, and so just trying to figure out what's going on. After they did pass the stimulus bill, and hopefully that'll inject some. I don't know if it's just short term, but we'll see how that kind of works out. But it has affected a lot. I sent all the staff home as of today for the next few weeks, so they'll be working from home. We're continue to work and got deals in the pipeline and everything else, and so. I talk about in a lot of my videos, the path to entrepreneurship and to success is a up and down, bumpy road. And just when you think you're about to have the best month of your life in any kind of business, and income-wise, you get that little bump. And so right now we're going through that. We're working through it and hopefully come out, even bigger and better on the other side of it. So It's just a crazy deal right now. We're, really feel for all the small businesses and people getting laid off right now because it's really it's a rough deal. But hopefully the stimulus can at least get them in the right direction, and we'll see if everybody can listen and pay attention and we bounce back quickly.
Not to get too political, but I'm looking through the stimulus today, and I know it may help a little bit, but you're talking about more as far as people who make more than 150K if it's a married couple, more than 100K as an individual.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to help you at all. It's going to help the everyday person to get $1,000, $1,200, but I think more importantly is if you're laid off, definitely file unemployment. But as far as like that $1,000 isn't going to do much. I think the stimulus package was great for small businesses, though. It's a lot of
banks are going to be able to loan now because they'll have backing, and some of that's forgiven if you actually keep your payroll and keep your employees on. Yeah. But you're right. The 100,000, individual, family, however it works out, is not a ton. I know the 100,000 seems, and if somebody tells you they make 100,000, you think they're rich.
No.
That's not that way anymore. It's really not even close, and they're still month to month paying their bills like everybody else. And so, really, you want to say it's unfair. I know somebody making minimum wage or 30,000 would laugh at you, but. It's tough because those people are losing their jobs too. Yeah. And
but this is the thing, though. You got to look at on it from both sides. I do think that what the government is trying to do is pump money into the economy.
Yes.
To back small businesses and back businesses so they can lean on those stimulus packages and not have to lay as many people off. Mm-hmm. So the $1,000 may end up being a lot bigger of a deal than some people may think. Yeah. Because if you don't get laid off and it's just temporary, and then you get $1,000 just to meet that little 30 to 60 day bump. I mean, that's the 30 to 60 day kind of valley. When it hits the peak again, they won't have to lay as many people off because they were able to get that injection.
And if you don't need that money, use it, invest it. Go put it in.
Buy a deal for me. Hell, I'll say. It.
But it's you get 500 for each kid. Well, I got 4 kids, so I don't know that I'll go off. They go off the 2018 taxes. Think it this way.
Sure, you only have 4 kids?
Yes, I'm sure.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure. 2018 taxes. Well, what if somebody was making $200,000 in 2018 and got laid off in 2019? So think about those people, and then now they're working a job where they make $50,000 a year. So think about those people. I mean, that's going to be tough for some of them. So, we'll see. It's it's better than nothing, and it does help the small businesses, and we'll kind of see how we come out of that. So, it's kind of enough of the coronavirus. I know we didn't really.
The Rona.
So it's on everybody's minds right now as it's starting to hit locally and get into our market. So we'll see if we can contain that spread a little bit. So let's get into some questions.
Awesome, man. So the first question is gonna really pinch a nerve for both of us, I think. When hiring, what are you looking for in a team member? And then how do you know when to fire somebody?
So if you want me to start, what we're looking for now has changed. We used to look for more experienced and didn't focus too much on the person. Now, I can tell you right now, if you read any book or you kind of learn or have experience, you need to find the right person that fits your culture and your values. And so we base ours off the EOS system, the book called Traction, and that's really focusing and setting your core values and hiring off that, because you want to build a team. Like, we want to build a team that works together, that shares that, accountability, that drive, that self-motivation, those values that your team members all do. Because if you get the right personality, but they don't have that drive, well, they may be a great person. And we've had that. We've hired great people. Yeah. But they didn't have that drive or motivation. And so, we had it sucks, but you have to cut them loose. Yeah. And so, you got to have that. You got to hire slow, fire fast. Yeah. Cost you money. It's not you can't be the buddy. Yeah. You have to run a business. And so. Yeah.
So when I'm hiring and I'm learning as I go, I'm sure Matt is too. He's hired a lot more people than I have, and he gets your ass out of there quick.
Now, yeah, I've made that mistake.
But when I'm looking for team members, I'm looking for somebody who's driven. And when I'm going through my interview process, whether it's an agent, an assistant, whatever, I try, if I'm getting somebody from another company, I always ask them how that experience was. Because it'll tell me how that person, what their moral compass is. Did they talk bad on their last company? Yeah. What did they say about that company? Are they driven? I can kind of tell, because I'm a driven person. Matt's a driven person. And I kind of surround myself with those type of people, or I don't surround myself with anybody at all. It's times where I'm not around anybody. Yeah. So I can tell if you're driven, if you have a purpose, if you have a why, if you have a reason why you want to make money, and not just because you want nice cars and shoes and stuff like that. What's going on in your life? What is driving you to come in here and sell for us? Mm-hmm. So every role is a little bit different when we're hiring. We're looking for different traits, but ultimately driven, morals, how do you treat people? How do you, gel with our team? So we'll have a lot of people just shadow for, a while before they're actually a part of our team. You don't get to just be hired and hang out with us, be a part of our winning culture.
You can really gauge how they are then.
Yeah, so you get to be in our culture for a while before you ever get hired.
So. I could tell, because we hire sales reps, I could tell within the first couple of days, you go through the training process, if we've got the one or not.
I can't, though. This is a good question for you, though, because you're commission-based, and this is something I've always dealt with up to this point. After somebody gets their first paycheck, everything changes. Yeah. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, we've seen it, but
negatively,
I don't know that we've let one go long enough to get it. They'll get it, but they're already done. They're already out the door. Yeah. I mean, we let somebody go after less than 2 weeks. Yeah. The other day. So.
But you don't see those. Do you see that trend? Like for me, I don't know if I'm blind to it, but I haven't seen it up to this point with people who haven't worked out with our team. I can usually tell them their first paycheck. How you react after that first paycheck. Yeah. I usually can tell if you're gonna be a part of our team or not.
Yeah, you see it, and I think it can go one way or the other, because it can actually propel them to drive and have more motivation because they see it, or it can get them in complacency and like they got in, and so it changes. I mean, it really is commission-based is really a different personality than if you got somebody on a full salary. They're going to treat that paycheck differently, and you've really got to trust that person. And so they're solely, your income. They're yours and their income, and so you're relying on them to do their job. And so perform. Really, but you've got to have a quick trigger. It's going to cost you money, especially in my business where we spend so much on marketing. That's why we don't go full go of marketing when we first hire somebody. We want to see how they react and how they do.
Just waste my leads.
And so
give you a few.
Yeah, you can, and I can sit all day and let you go over things and train you, but I could tell real fast if you're ready to get out there and go drive and hustle out on your own. And I don't know if he listens. Our rep in Little Rock, he did just that. He is what you want, the ideal sales rep that you hired. He was just itching to go within a day on his own. Just go. Like, he didn't want to spend all the time, training right then. He wanted to go and learn as he went and use the training tools as he was going. And so we were comfortable to send leads out right away. And we are getting a slowdown on the back end with investors right now, but he's absolutely killing it out there.
Let me ask you something. Last thing about hiring. Once you got somebody in your doors, what are some things that you see early that tell you, hey, this isn't the right person? When I talk about the drive to me is easy to tell because you can tell, like I said, you can literally tell within, I say, 2 full days. Because you can see if they're just sitting back there, doing nothing, maybe watching a training video that you gave, I can already tell you they're not going to work. Yeah. I mean, I'm ready. I want to see hungry, out there, aggressive, ready to go, wanting to go call leads, wanting to go attack go to appointments. Right now, we can't really go on appointments, but do it a different way. So we're trying cold calling right now. But if they're just sitting back there and they're just sitting back in an office or a desk and they're just watching videos and they're not really you're not taking notes, they're not doing anything, we're done. Yeah. I mean, it's you're good luck if you make it past the first week. Yeah. And so what you do there is I give them a little bit of a teaser marketing and throw them to the wolves and see what they can do. Yeah. And so my new formula is to overload you. So I go through it. We try to put through a manual for each role. Mm-hmm. You do training videos, which is a little bit more technology forward thinking. I'm not there yet with training videos, but I'll give you a bunch of things for you to do, no matter what the role is. And I'll train you and I'll tell you what you need to do and make sure you understand. And if you're not able to get most of that list done, I know. Yeah. If you're not asking me questions about the list, that's a whole different thing. You're not done and you didn't ask me any questions, you got to go. Yep. But if you get through most of it, 75, 80% of it, and you've been asking questions, that tells me that you may be the right person.
I think I told you this off air too. If you ask a question, pay attention to the answer. Because if I have to answer a question, the same question over and over again, and the biggest thing that really kills me is asking irrelevant questions that are literally meaningless to your job. I just don't get it. It's just a waste of time for everybody.
Why do we do it this way? Or why do you say that?
And so, build your own thing. Build your own way of doing things. I'm giving you a template to go off of. Use it. If you've got videos that answer these questions, why are you asking me right now? Maybe you want to interpret that video or that answer and kind of get my thoughts on it, maybe to tailor to our company or how we do things. That's fine. Ask it that way. Yeah. Don't ask simple questions that could already been answered easily. And if you ask one, don't ask it again 10 minutes later.
Makes sense.
And so I've had that happen. Yeah. And I went to Crystal 30 minutes later. I said, I don't think it's going to work out. Yeah. I mean, it's little things that you just pick up on. I don't know. Yeah. When I always took a job, I was ready to go. Like, I didn't want to sit in an office and watch videos all day. I was ready to go. Yeah. I was ready to go do stuff. So, I don't know.
Hey, you guys. Production. We're coming up in the world right now. What is this called? What is this?
You got some vodka here. I don't know what.
No, what is this?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Like, what is this called?
It's a big glass to put alcohol in.
Big ass thing. Matt's taking a shot. He's a grown man when it comes to that stuff. I'm going to give Matt his credit. I may think
you ripped me the last time.
I'm going to give you some credit, man. You ain't a punk. I'll give you that. One thing you're not is a punk.
And I don't drink at all. Like this.
Neither.
The last time was the last time I took a drink of alcohol. Was the last time we were here. Yeah. And so, we had.
Once a week, I guess, now.
I think I drank more between when it was illegal, between I was 18 and 21 than I did from 21 to now 32.
Yeah, you told me a little bit about that story. I won't put you on blast, but you've come a long way, man. I'm proud of you.
I was not an alcoholic. You misinterpret everything.
You were a trouble kid, and now look at you.
I was not at all. Literally everything he says is absolute bullshit.
That is not true.
Yes, it is.
We'll talk about it.
Next question.
How do you find deals when flipping houses?
God,
let me go first.
So many mistakes. Go ahead. Why are you interviewing me? I'll ask you the question.
Let me go first.
All right, go.
I'm just asking the questions. How do you find deals when house flipping? The best way to find deals is to network, but that's the obvious thing. The next thing would be to, buy a list from List Source or whatever. And whatever your criteria is, whether it's, you're looking for 1980s to 1990s house, 3 beds, 2 baths, whatever that criteria may be, whatever cities you're looking to whatever markets you're looking to be in, I would definitely get a list for those houses and I'd mail them. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion, in my past experience. To mail that list, set up a call rail system, it's $30, $45 a month. That way all the calls are in a central place. It'll call forward to you. You can also text through this app. And that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Now, the problem is, as you get into, more popular markets, Chicago, some of the Florida markets, the Carolinas, California, those different markets is more competitive. Everybody's in the mailbox. So you have to get more creative. Yeah. But if you're in a smaller market, or any market, honestly, you just got to stand out when you're in the mailbox. It can't just be bull crap. But that's my opinion.
So we started by using realtors because I didn't know any better. And realtors are good for a lot of people, but when you're trying to flip houses and your margins are so small as it is, you've already cut that down and you're competing against so many people.
So
when
you're
you
just
look
as
at
bad
market
as Zillow,
properties.
man. You're just as bad as Zillow. You're just trying to cut us out. What's wrong
now, I use them on the back end.
Whatever.
Always. I use off-market. I use list source. And so we pull different lists, and you can pull high equity list, you can pull absentee owner list. You can really break it down to a lot of different really categories and subcategories. Yeah. Assess values, pre-foreclosures, corporate owned, non-corporate owned. You can do a lot of things. And we pull that list, and I get a discount through our real estate group. And so we usually pull probably 15 to 20,000 leads a list if they're cold leads. So when I say 15, 20,000, don't think that's warm leads. They're not. And then we do a different strategy all the time. So you always got to be adapting to the market. What's going on? Who's your competition? What are they doing? We started sending letters the very first time. And letters did okay because we're not a lot of competition around here. Yeah. But think about this. If you get a letter that even looks half spammy, what are you going to do? You're going to throw it in the trash. That's what I do. I just straight throw it in the trash. What if you get a postcard? What if you get a bright yellow postcard that stands out? Even if you grab it and go take it to the trash, you're already reading it. You're already seeing it. And if you see the words sell your house, which are in big letters, well, you were going to throw that away, and then you're thinking, well, maybe I am going to keep that, and I'm interested in that. And so the postcards have really been great in most of the smaller markets. The bigger markets, like Josh said, they have mailboxes, and they have their kitchen countertop is full of these things, and they haven't thrown them away. Yeah, so you're competing. So there's text message services, there's ringless voicemail, there's the old-fashioned cold calling. We actually had a vote in our office yesterday. We sent out a new market, and we pulled a new list yesterday for a new hire. And I took a vote. I said, hey, should we do ringless voicemail or text blasting? And so text blasting worked on this one.
Have you done ringless voicemail?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty good. You should try it.
And it's interesting, but we thought our lead manager, Sarah, who has the ultimate vote, she's the one handling the incoming calls and texts, is I think I can negotiate better, and I think we can actually communicate better through texting. Some people are hesitant to call, but they may text you back. And so I'm thinking as a seller perspective, what's going to get the most interaction. So, but we're going to do ringless voicemail in the future.
This is my take on ringless voicemail, and this is another perspective to look on it. Yeah, you'll get I think your manager may have said it's easier. She preferred that way for one reason, in my opinion. It's because she can control the incoming flow of those leads. Yeah. Well, voicemail can become overwhelming because they're going to call you back, and she's going to get a bunch of calls coming in. It's going to be hard for her to handle it. But text messages come in one at a time. She can text them back pretty quickly, but also if you're using call rail, it's pretty simple. It's just like a normal text message to your phone. Text messages are hard to get overwhelmed with. Yeah.
We actually use a different software for our texting, so it kind of keeps it separate. Yeah, it integrates with Podio, our CRM software.
Gotcha. So but with ringless voicemail, you're gonna leave them a voicemail, but they're gonna call you back. They're probably not gonna text you back. So that can become overwhelming. But at the same time, if you're thinking about motivated leads who have equity, most of them are gonna be. I mean, they're usually going to be older individuals. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be more.
You're right, and a lot of our leads, like in Little Rock, we did a big deal. Is a lot of older people with equity. We did an equity list, so people may be asking, what is ringless voicemail? Have you ever got those half ring calls and that's it? The half ring and it's over. You don't have time to answer it. And then all of a sudden, 30 seconds later, you get a voicemail pop up. That's just ringless voicemail. Yeah. So it's just a little tactic that it kind of, you avoid that awkward conversation, but you get your message out. So now somebody's listening to your message because they're kind of curious on what's going on, and always use a local number. Yeah. Don't ever use a 1-800 or, that's what we use, CallRail. We pick different numbers for different marketing campaigns. So if we're in Little Rock, we use 501. Oklahoma, we use 918. Fort Smith area, we use 479. Always pick local numbers. We made a big mistake when we hired one of our reps who's now gone. She was out of Florida, and her number was a Florida number. And we could not figure out why she wasn't getting responses for a while. And it finally hit. I'm like, oh my gosh. What she didn't realize is you could actually call out of the CallRail app and use that number that they call from the postcard. And so, we got that figured out though.
Yeah. So that would be your biggest mistake. This is my biggest mistake that I've made with marketing campaigns, because I used to get into wholesaling a little bit. So I did the direct mail and all that good stuff. The biggest mistake that I made was not knowing when my postcards were going to hit. Yeah. So I sent them my postcards. Yeah. They take about 7 to 10 days to actually get produced, and in somebody's mailbox.
I've learned everyone's different. Every company's different. It's always, you got to figure that out.
So I sent out a direct mail campaign. I went to Virginia to see my family. We went to the Great Wolf Lodge. We were on vacation. It's my first time, my kids' first time ever being out. Dude, phone blew up, and I could not answer. It was so many good deals. I probably made $5,000-$10,000 off that list. Yeah. And dude, I couldn't put my phone down. I was like, Mom, Dad, babe, wife, you got to take care of the kids. I got to take these calls, and I spent my entire vacation pretty much in the house, not knowing that my postcards were gonna hit that day. So
it's like the first one you ever send out is kind of eye opening because you don't know what to expect. I think I said in one of our podcasts, I was working at the bank. I was a commercial loan officer at a pretty large bank, and I'd have to shut the door to my office because my phone was blowing up. Yeah. I'd have 20 voicemails and 60 calls, by the time the end of the day, and just trying to write down notes. I still have that notepad with all those leads I never got to.
I remember one day you gave me your note. You sent me a picture of your notepad. Yeah. You still at the bank. You're like, dude, if you can close any of these leads, 50-50. You sent me. I remember that notepad like it was yesterday. Yeah. Chicken scratch handwriting and all that. I remember.
Because I have bad handwriting, anyways. But the calls are coming in so fast. I'm just having to write everything down. I'll call you back. Okay, call you back. Call you back. Yeah. And so I had no time to actually research the properties, see what they're really worth. I didn't know what the heck I was doing at that time to know what to calculate ARVs and all that stuff. I was just guessing. Yeah. And so
really all you had time to write down, I remember like it was yesterday, because I remember some of the names on the list. It was the person's name or the LLC's name, their phone number, and the property. That was it. You had no notes on the property or nothing, no notes of the conversation.
I thought, well, I'll just get an appointment. I'll go look at it. I'll pull it up on Zillow, and I didn't have an app at that time, or a service that time we were using to do values. And then I'll just go from there, which I bet I got in over 300 total calls, maybe 400 on a list of 8,000, which was pretty good. And I bet I went on 3 appointments. Yeah. Because I didn't have time. Yeah. I drove by a bunch of them and never followed up. So,
dude, I waste a lot of leads. I'm getting better at it, but I waste a lot of leads.
Yep. But I saved them all. I still have that notebook. And when we get a rep in here trained and ready to go, I'm just going to hand it to them and be like, hey, follow up on all these. I bet they still have these properties. Yeah. So let's get to our last question, third question. So, example, I have a half acre of land, want to develop a small apartment complex. Where do I start?
So there's 2 sides of the coin. If you have capital or you don't have capital. If you have cash and access to capital, and also access to financing, I say do the deal on your own, unless you don't know what you're doing. Because what you can do with development is just like house flipping. You can say, hey, look, this project's gonna cost me $300,000. The contractor tells you it's gonna be $300,000 to develop this property. It's gonna be worth $450,000 when you're done, based on what your realtor or what you know about the market value. And I guarantee you, by the time you're done with permits, you're done with plumbing inspections, electric inspections, punch lists, and everything, you're gonna spend about $100,000 more than you think, and you will bleed and you will lose money on the deal because you're not gonna be able to go back to that bank and say, I need $100,000 more dollars.
No, they may have used to do that, but I don't think anybody's doing that anymore. Right now, they won't even lend it to you. So, and what you got to think about too is all your infrastructure. So, we didn't think about, okay, is the utilities out there? Yeah. Is there a cutout? Do we got to make a new road? How do we got to design the road? Whether it's around it or, however we're doing. So you say, the question says small apartment complex. This can apply to, say you want to build 4 duplexes. You want to build them, 2 and 2 and have a road in the middle with your parking spread out like that. Maybe you could fit that on a half acre. It just depends on, every city's different with how much space you're going to have in between your units too. Maybe you just do 2, or maybe you do 2-story and you can fit more. But you talk about maybe sprinkler systems. So if you wanted to build like a 10-unit, 1 bed, 1 bath with the two ones in there, you're gonna have to have sprinklers probably at 10 units, and so that's a lot of money in itself. So there's a lot of non-construction cost that you got to factor in there. What about the architect drawing up plans? I mean, there's a lot. So you really got to have a good relationship with a contractor if you're not doing it yourself, and really know what's gonna with the city. See what you can do with the city. Factor in your future taxes, because right now you got nothing on there. I mean, you just land only. But getting the money, I mean, it's hard if you don't have your own capital to just get a straight from the ground construction loan. Get a solid bid. Make sure you always account for overages when you're going to the bank. So if you account 10, 15, maybe 20% for kind of miscellaneous or overages, that gives you some room, because the bank's going to lend on that amount that you gave them. So they'll usually give you, 80 to 85% of that. Yeah. And then with the turnaround of putting it on long-term principal and interest, P&I payments after the construction's done, and you usually get some time to get tenants in there first. Yeah. So, they can be good. I've just built 2 duplexes, and I'm building one right now. And then I've got the setup on some current land I have to build about 10. And so I'll kind of be going through that process here pretty soon. So we just have great relationships with banks.
Hey, by the way, I got some land in Central City. About 10 acres if you want to build.
He's trying to sell me right now during the podcast. I got too much stuff going on.
10 acres, you can build some duplexes on it.
At some point.
This would be my suggestion, and I've done a lot of research on development. I plan on being one of the biggest multifamily developers in the world. So this is some decent advice. I've done a lot of research. Not going to toot my own horn, because I haven't developed anything. I just research a lot about the topic. The best thing you could do is build a team. Find a good architect, or find a good builder who already has plans that they've done on duplexes before. There are some builders who literally keep plans so they can redo a duplex and rebuild a duplex that they've already built in the past. If they own those plans, that'd be a good place to start. Have some relationships with the city, because what you'll run into, even if it's zoned a certain way, if it's zoned multifamily, depending on the use or the type of property, if you want to do student housing or whatever, you may have to have some relationships with the city council to understand, to have allies, because they may block your development. No, we don't want these duplexes in this neighborhood, or we don't want this going on here, because what if you have to change the zoning? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So have relationships with the city council. Maybe just
zoning. You're right. I didn't even think about. I didn't even think about zoning. Making
sure
a lot
of things you got to think about. The infrastructure. Make sure it's infrastructure already there. And if not, hey builder, what is it going to take to get infrastructure here? Knowing people down at the city when it comes to the plumbing inspectors. In Fort Smith, I can tell you now, it ain't easy with these plumbing inspectors.
Remember your back end appraisal, which you're banking on to help your future loan, your net worth, your assets, all that is not going to factor in what it costs you to put a road in there or bring utilities. That's not valued in there. Yeah. So, it does improve the land, and I get that. Somebody will say, well, the land value increases. I get it, but it's not a one-to-one.
No, it
and
not.
so just remember,
it doesn't generate income. That's what he's saying. It's not a one-to-one. It's not going to generate you money because you're.
I was approached to buy, I think it was 16 duplexes that were built almost a year old, and it ended up costing this group a ton more than expected to get all the infrastructure ready. And I was like, I'm with you on what it costs you to build and what you pay for the land. I said, I'm not paying for what it costs you to do that. I'm just not factoring that in there. It doesn't make sense for my cash flow, and so it's something you got to factor in there. The more level it is, the non-flood, where you have to, you don't have to build it up. That'll cost dirt work. Will cost you more than expected. Yeah. You can get what they call them, geotech test or whatever, to see the soil to make sure you don't have to build it up or anything like that. So a lot of things go into it.
Yeah. So long story short, there's a lot of factors into it. We've given you an idea of where you could start. But at the end of the day, if this is your first time thinking about developing is awesome. Like, if you think about a lot of the billionaires that are in real estate, they develop.
Yeah.
The billionaires in real estate are not just your buy and hold investors. Yeah, they're buying and holding, but they're developing and creating value where value may not be seen by others. So it may be a crappy piece of land that nobody thought about that's downtown Miami. They'll build a big old high-rise condo. That's where a lot of that wealth is built.
And let me put one disclaimer out there. That's how a lot of people went broke, too.
Yeah.
And they also were smart enough and they built it all back, and I know some.
Yeah.
But always have something going that's bringing in income. When you have that, what they call speculative property, that's non-income producing property while it's under construction or whatever it may be, or remodel.
Yeah.
So it's non-income producing. Well, if something happens in the economy midway through that, like you're building now duplexes, they're going to be different. But if you're building a high rise or you're building, multi-unit or multi-level long-term project, and something happens in the middle, coronavirus happens in the middle, you put a lot of delay on there. Now you're paying interest payments for months and months where you don't have workers or things like that. So,
well, if you want to play the big game and you want to be a billionaire,
but it's how you become very wealthy.
Yeah, that's just a part of the game, bro. You got to understand the game. I think if you're doing your first couple of developments, I would definitely have a team. I would definitely, if I had a piece of land, I'm bringing on a builder to be a partner with me, a financial partner. I'm bringing on a financial partner who's done developments in the past to be a partner with me as well. I'm splitting this ownership up so I can understand how to do it right. And then when it's my turn,
split your liability.
Yeah, when it's my turn to start building on my own, that way I can go to investors directly and I can just bring the builder in to do the job instead of giving away a piece of the ownership. Yeah. So that's what I would do. But, who are we? What do we know? We just know a little bit about a lot.
That's right.
So what you think, man? You think we covered everything?
I think that's it. Got a little Corona talk in there. Got our questions in. With everything going on right now, still, submit questions because, now is the time to learn about how to attack this market and what to do during times like this, a recession type deal. And so I still believe it's going to be more of a V when it kind of flattens. I think it's going to go straight back up. But, what I'll say to Josh, and he'll give maybe some feedback or we talk about it, the next couple podcasts, is real estate is always about 30 days behind. So I don't know that we're going to feel the max blow until next month, until April. Because then it's contracts that didn't get put under, deals that didn't get put under contract and things like that and closings that got delayed and all that. So we'll kind of see what it does to the real estate market. We've seen what it does to, retail and restaurants and all those types of businesses. I know a local restaurant that's pretty large laid off 200 of his 244 employees the other day. This is crazy. We've never seen anything like this for what it's caused, and a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but
it's not the time for it, by the way.
It's not
keep
at all
conspiracy theory,
because I've seen about 100 of them, and I'm like, there's so many people,
time,
losing their jobs and money and just who knows? Keep it to yourself. But
this is one thing I do want to say, and I didn't fact check it. You always want to fact check things you see on social media, but it was said by a pretty reputable source that in, I don't know, it's the 1600s, I guess, Isaac Newton, during the Black Plague, it was some kind of plague. Didn't he discover gravity during, did all the research on gravity during that Black Plague? And then when the Black Plague was over, he actually, validated everything with the Black Plague.
So I'll tell you right now, they say that tech companies will come out of this stronger than ever because now these people are sitting around, the really smart people out there, and coming up with new ideas. And so just wait. There'll be a lot of cool inventions, a lot of cool things that come out of this. Yeah. Hopefully like a bright spot, kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel to this just madness.
And I know Matt is very similar to me in this aspect. I'm planning on taking a lot of market share right now. With the planning that I'm doing, I'm making calls, the same calls that I would before, and I'm getting a lot less pushback right now.
I haven't slowed down any of my marketing. So, like I said, we just hired 2 new people.
It's going to be a lot of people who are going to be pissed off at us when this is over because we're going to have a lot of market share.
I don't give a crap.
Fist bumps.
So, all right, man.
Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Highballers. You see, we had our Ciroc, man. We had it flowing this time. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please give us a rating and review on Apple iTunes, and also give us a like on Facebook. Yeah. Send us questions in the comments on YouTube, or you can message the Highballers page on Facebook. So we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Peace out.
That's a wrap.